A new season means new weapons, and one of the most hyped ones is the S-Blast 92. Here are the stats for the main weapon. Some of these change depending on which firing mode you use. For comparison, we included the stats for other blasters that can also one-shot. The Blaster class has been struggling in the meta for some time. While Luna and Clash Blaster are very good at close range, they lack the range to fight backlines and other longer range weapons. In contrast, the Blaster, Range Blaster, and Rapids have the range to threaten these targets, but if someone gets close or rushes you down, they struggle if they cannot hit directs. The S-Blast tries to fix this problem by having two different firing modes. When pressing ZR while on the ground, your shots have longer range and a small hitbox. If you jump before firing, your shots have shorter range and a very large hitbox. These traits allow it to excel at close quarters. So this means, if you hit a target at long range, and they start coming close to you, you can just change to short range mode. The same thing applies in reverse. If you poke someone with a short range shot, and then they run away, you can just switch to long range mode and finish the kill. The S-Blast comes with Sprinkler and a Sheep Reflighter that costs 180 points. This kit got memed on when it was announced, but in theory these tools make sense. Blasters in general struggle at painting, so Sprinkler compensates for this. It also leaves a nice blob of paint when placed, so it can serve as a decent movement tool if you're desperate. Reflighter can serve as an escape button and allows you to paint the zone on some maps. Its splash damage is 70, allowing you to get consistent kills by following up with a short range indirect. In practice, this does not work well. Sprinkler does provide some movement option, but its paint is mediocre, and most players prefer a bomb, because something like a Splat Bomb or Fizzy can not only paint, but also do damage. Reflighter's startup and end lag is long, meaning it is easy to get punished. The S-Blast shares similar pros and cons to the Blaster, as well as some more unique ones. Its shot velocity is the fastest out of any blaster, and its unique gimmick allows it to deal with situations from multiple ranges, something other blasters struggle at. And of course, as a blaster, it has that high damage and ability to hit people from behind cover. However, there are multiple problems with this weapon. In its long range mode, the blast radius is very small, and the fire rate for both modes is very slow. As a blaster, its paint output and object damage is horrible, and as mentioned before, the kit is mediocre. This weapon fills the role as a Slayer or Frontliner that focuses on getting picks or trades. As with any other blaster, learning to position and keep your distance between you and your target is important. Along with that, you'll have to learn to get used to switching between short and long range mode, as making the wrong shot can cost you your life. As you play this weapon more and more, you'll learn to get used to it. If you press the jump button after firing, you can jump while having long range shots. The long range shots actually have zero spread while in midair, so use that to your advantage. Due to the small hitbox and the occasional situation where you have to fight at point blank, I recommend learning to hit directs rather than constantly rely on indirects for kills. This can be done with a bit of practice from shooting dummies before you start a match. When it comes to building a team comp around the S-Blast, teammates that can paint and do shit damage help a lot. Reflighter is usually inefficient by itself, but works very well when it is paired with a distraction like a displacement special from another teammate. Since it plays as a frontline or Slayer, it can run builds similar to Range Blaster and Blaster, which means quick respawn and stealth jump. Some optional abilities to run on it include Haunt, Ninja Squid, and Swim Speed. Opening Gambit is another decent option, as it heavily benefits from mobility and intensify action. However, it depends on your ability to get picks, or else it is useless. Usually it is only used in solo queue or in competitive matches if you think your chance of getting an early pick is high. Intensify action helps the short range mode a bit, but since shot RNG is either non-existent or not important on either mode, the S-Blast doesn't depend on it as much compared to other blasters. Since it doesn't have to rely much on this kit, it doesn't need to invest in any abilities that affect the sub or special. For players who are new to the blaster class, Ink Saver Main and Ink Recovery Up are decent options. However, in competitive play, many players don't use these abilities, as they are able to manage their ink take without any extra help. Also, since this weapon doesn't have a bomb to spam, you won't have to worry as much about running out of ink. Overall, this is a very good idea on paper, and many players were excited for it. However, Nintendo poorly executed this idea by giving it a mediocre kit. Despite its flaws, the main weapon is amazing and the kit is fun, but in competitive, the kit makes it difficult to use and build a comp around. For more information and example builds, the Wikipedia and Sendal.ink pages for S-Blast are in the description. Thanks for watching. Due to the small hitbox and the occasional situation where you have to Godverdammte.